I suppose so. Okay, that's surprising. I, for a moment there, I thought there was a problem with the game. I sometimes think that the best hope for humanity is when we get technologies such as what they call it, vat-grown food. You may know that we can, in fact, grow meat essentially in vats. It's expensive, but you can do it. But if you had an industrial process like that, that might end up being a more environmentally beneficial way of doing it. Imagine you didn't have to have the vast number of cows and chickens that we do now for meat, and you could essentially grow the meat in a lab, and there would be no animal cruelty involved. You'd just literally divide the cells in essentially a giant vat. I have no problem with that. You'd still have a market for so-called natural grown beef, for example, or chicken or pork. It would just be extremely expensive. I mean, I don't know that you'd even, for most things, be able to tell the difference. I got absolutely no problem with that idea. I'm not sure to what extent we can grow things like asparagus in a lab, and that you might always end up with farms for that purpose, but you know, if you ended up focusing on farms to produce vegetables, shall we say, and then say the majority of animal meat was lab grown, that might help. It's an idea I think that's been considered by science fiction writers. Essentially, of course, what I'm saying is that we'd end up looking to technology to help save the human race. But of course, that doesn't do much for poorer countries, which would have to invest in it. I don't know how you would go about persuading that. Not in a moral fashion, at any rate. I suppose if you had industrial level hydroponics, you could do something about growing more vegetables in a smaller space, so that would then be sort of more like an industrial factory type of thing. I'm sure there are no end of potential problems with that, but again, this is actually an idea that's been explored in science fiction. The Expanse, I think it has the Expanse series has a major plot point. But of course, we're a long way from being able to do anything like that. Hello, what's happening here? Can I not get in? Oh. ASMR and environmentalism. But human beings, how long has Homo sapiens been on the planet? What is it, 250,000 years? We've been modifying our environment all that time. It does seem very likely that we have exterminated species in that time when there were only quite enough few of us. So we don't need large numbers of humans to wipe out species. What am I missing here? I think even the Neanderthals have been shown to have made environmental changes, and they were definitely, mind you, they were around for a lot longer than humans have been. When humans left Africa and came to Europe, the Neanderthals were already here. I think the same is true for when we got to Southeast Asia. The Denisovans were already there, and in sufficient quantity that they've left their imprint on our DNA, because we interbred with the Denisovans and the Neanderthals. I think one of the things we got from Neanderthals is improved blood clotting. I think I saw something today, and I would need to check it up, about another species of humans that's been discovered. And I can't remember what it's called. It's not Denisovans, and it's not Homo floresiensis. It's another species that I think was in the same general area as the Denisovans, but it isn't the Denisovans. I don't think. If you want a lot of detailed information on the Denisovans or hominids, hominid evolution, go and look up Gutsick Gibbon. She has a channel that talks about that kind of thing, amongst others. And she does know what she's talking about. She's doing a PhD on the subject right now. So she's not like me, just someone who has a bit of knowledge and isn't afraid to randomly sprout stuff. She actually knows what she's talking about. Does anybody remember what I'm supposed to be doing? Because I don't. This is where I started, isn't it? Ah, I haven't been over here. I must be missing a plant. There we go. You know, I haven't tried the right mouse button. I'm not sure if it does anything. maybe spiral? No, the scroll wheels don't do anything. Oh, here we go. Finally, making progress. Well, going somewhere. Why does that sound discordant? Is it supposed to be discordant? You wouldn't have thought so. Oh, now, while I'm talking about environmental impacts, if you're interested, you should take a look at the cause of some of the early extinctions. Yeah, we tend to think of our planet as being, in a state of equilibrium. It's not necessarily. It never has been. The only mass extinction which seems to have been generated from things like a meteorite impact, the famous one that contributed to the extinction of the dinosaurs, that was unusual. All the other mass extinctions, and they have been, 90% of all life on Earth wiped out levels of mass extinctions, they were actually caused by the environment itself. And some of those were genuinely horrific. So, in some respects, you can always say that whatever human beings are doing to this planet, and we are definitely harming it. It's been argued we are in a extinction event, the first one caused by humans. And ours may be moving faster than the others. Yeah, I know some of them really, really appallingly bad. The aforementioned Gutsick Gibbon has a series talking about mass extinctions on the planet. By the way, that's not to say that we shouldn't try and stop the one that's currently in progress. Of course we should. Alright, can I get through that gap? Or am I missing something? I'm missing something, am I not? Okay. No, not. Alright, controls, a little bit unhelpful. Ah, yes, I am supposed to be going this way. It's funny, in my relatively extensive life, where I played video games, of all the things that people complain about in games, and there's a lot, camera really seems to me to be quite common. Getting a good camera system seems to be quite a challenge. Oh, I missed something, didn't I? Still haven't got used to looking around at my various screens to make sure everything's working all right, and playing the game and talking all at the same time. While live streaming is definitely easier than sitting down and doing the research and doing a script and then recording everything, live streaming is definitely its own skill, especially when you're not reacting to other people's stuff. I think I've said that before, haven't I? Oh well. I can't be expected to remember everything I've ever said on live stream. You know, I think this is about as far as I got when I was playing on iOS. And I think I'm missing stuff, aren't I? What did I miss? Let's have a quick look. Yes, I am missing stuff. Glad there's nothing like time limits. Oh, let's change the subject briefly, seeing as I just mentioned time limits and it sparked a thought in my head. Anybody been playing Sky lately? I mean, apart from Thivia and me, of course. Yeah. I've only been playing Sky, well, since February of 2024, so, you know, the way Sky is at the moment is pretty much what I'm used to. But, here's a thought. I might consider doing a sort of a weekly live stream on here's the current bugs and issues, see if I can reproduce them. Right now, people are reporting server connection problems. And if you get that, the only solution is to simply try reconnecting. One prominent bug that I ran across this morning, as a matter of fact, is they're calling it the praying bug. You know, that's when you start up the game and you get the light refresh and praying and light animation, and it doesn't go away. That is being quite loudly reported, and I ran across it for the first time today. And here's what I discovered about it. The first is, even if you get Ubered around, you will not pick up light. It looks like you do, but you don't. However, you can actually still pick up daily tickets from the current event. And you can pick up seasonal candles. So, progress is slow, but you can do it. So, if you're patient and you don't need regular candles, you can grab the minimum required to get the one thing in the current event that you can get with tickets, which is the cape, which I should be able to pick up today, I think, or tomorrow. There's a bug there, by the way, which I didn't realize. It's a beneficial one. You can, if you do things just right, actually pick up 5 tickets. If you remember where the first stage for the event was, you know, you had to pick up the panpipes and this kind of thing. The panpipes are still there, and if you pick them up, you do in fact get a ticket, and then you can go to currently the Days of Duet region and pick up 4 more. So useful. I don't know whether that's deliberate. I've heard that it's a bug actually, but Oh, that's nice. Is that supposed to be heather? It looks a bit like heather. For those of you who haven't seen a heather-covered moor, they do tend to have purples and greens rather than just green, but that doesn't look like it's supposed to be heather. So I'm guessing this is just artistic license. Oh, we'll see what happens if we finish the stage. Whether it turns to green. Probably end up finding out, oh no, there is in fact a purple coloured grass. I don't think there is. I'd be very surprised. Am I supposed to go over here? Have I been over here already? Have I picked everything up? Oh yeah, I've got stuff over here I need to pick up. You know, one mistake I'm making here is I'm trying to rush things. I ought to just let things just slowly flow. And Flow was That Game Company's previous game, which I have not played, and I don't think I can get. I think it might be available for PlayStation 4 still, but I got no way of playing it. It's not on Steam, so I think it was on PC at one point, but I don't know that you can actually buy it from anywhere at the moment. And even if I did, look, I play Steam games because it works with Linux, and I don't really feel like trying to get non-Steam games working with Linux. You can, apparently, but it's, according to some, it's more trouble than it's worth. I mean, you have to be really quite dedicated to try that. I need to go back on myself. Oh, I still have a whole bunch of stuff to collect. What did I miss? I missed something over here, I think. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this game engine is used in other games apart from That Game Company's. They, I don't seem to have. I don't know if they wrote it themselves. I think they licensed the game engine, which is, you know, perfectly fine. A lot of people do that. Anybody, most people are familiar with. Oh, let me see. I'm trying to remember. What's the current game engine? Unreal. The Unreal game engines. Lots and lots of games use it. And yeah, it's all licensed. Yeah, talking about game engines, seeing as I got onto, well, it should be a relatively safe subject, I hope. Back when Doom came out, and Doom 2, the game engine for that was used in a whole bunch of games. The engine wasn't even massively sophisticated by the standards of the time, but there were quite a few games that used it. The one I remember in particular was Hexen. I think that used the Doom 2 engine. And then of course Quake came along, and lots of people used the Quake engine. But again, even by the standards of the time, it wasn't hugely sophisticated. One of the better game engines at the time that I played, was the one for Star Wars Dark Forces. That was a surprisingly effective game engine, and it's in the same basic sort of era as Doom and arguably Quake. And then, of course, and I don't know if they use a licensed engine. Hands up who remembers Duke Nukem 3D. Oh, that's nice. Duke Nukem 3D was this classic game back when. And its game engine was used in the rather hilarious Redneck Rampage. That was a deliciously amusing game. A guy called Mojo Nixon did some or all of the music for Redneck Rampage, and some of it is absolutely classic if you have that kind of sense of humor. What was it? Can't remember the name of the song. I think it sort of starts off with the first line was something like, "I was squashing armadillos out on Interstate 10." That's the first line. Something big rigs and barbecue. I think politically I would probably hate Mojo Nixon, but yeah, the music for Redneck Rampage was funny, and a lot of it was absolutely hilarious. So anyway, yeah, after things like Doom and Quake, and then the original Unreal, I won't say that the game engine market exploded, but it certainly took off. Because, you had a perfectly good 3D engine, and you could license it from the developers, so why not? Well, that's a point, because Doom and Quake, of course, were developed by the ID Software. Does anybody know if ID Software is still going? I mean, I know that things like Doom keeps making a resurgence. I think, is it Bethesda owns the rights to Doom? And Wolfenstein, of course. Wolfenstein 3D was one of ID Software's first games, if not the first. But I don't know if ID Software is actually doing anything at the moment. I'd have to look them up. That was sort of back in the day of the sort of rockstar developers. John Carmack, John Romero, that sort of thing. Okay, I never got this far on iOS at all. Do we have any Rockstar developers now? I mean, Genova Chen's one of the guiding lights behind games like this, TGC, but I'm not sure you'd call him a Rockstar developer. There's always Hideo Kojima. Am I just so out of touch I don't care anymore? But then Hideo Kojima's been around for a very long time. I think I first encountered his name with, I think it was Metal Gear Solid on the PSX. What was his last game? I think it was Death Stranding. I've never played it. I've seen some video playthroughs of it. It's not a game that appeals. Heard it described as a walking simulator. I've heard its fans say there's more to it than that. There's nothing about it which appeals, though. I've got a suspicion it's a bit self-indulgent, that game. But, you know, if people enjoy it, who am I to judge? I suppose one of the reasons we don't exactly have rockstar individual developers anymore is that it is increasingly difficult for one person to make a large-scale game. It's doable. There's been a few people who have done it. I've been playing, anybody watching me yesterday, Genesis of a Small God is developed by one person and I can't remember his name. And I don't have the means to look it up as I'm playing this. But I think that's a solo effort. Yeah, but the days when you could do a, well, I won't call it necessarily a AAA title. Yeah, you almost, I'm not going to say you can't do that, but you almost certainly have to have a team for that, or even a AA title, whatever the, or a single A title. I mean, even Flower was developed by a team. I don't remember how large the team was, but it was. I think Flow was as well. That was not a solo effort. There were a few people involved with that, and that's because of the number of skills you require. You know, you have to have the graphics. I mean, at the very least, you need graphics and music. If you license the game engine, you're saving yourself some trouble, but you still need artists and musicians. And the days when the odd random ding from the computer with sufficient sound effects to attract awe and respect, they're long gone. I seem to remember back in the early 80s, back in the days when, oh, that's nice. Who knows that you can only see a rainbow from one side? If there was somebody standing on the other side of that rainbow, they probably wouldn't see it. Okay, oh, look at that. And the outside has improved. That's nice.